Yeah, and I've seen love, man. Love could definitely change the whole situation.
Yeah.
It could definitely break barriers. Dante, you mentioned like steaming and stuff like that, but when you show love, you do have that choice and that decision. A lot of times, Christ gives you that decision, and when you choose love, it's just like a weight is lifted off you. You know what I mean? You feel like not no longer captive by that dark nature, that dark force. And a lot of times, when that love is shared or when it's used or with somebody else, and it breaks down barriers. It breaks down the guard. Somebody's beating you up or treating you poorly, and you're showing them love. It can really. That's when you really see Christ. That's
Yeah.
I definitely experienced that.
Yeah, I think it's important to keep in mind too that this is my understanding. Loving the choice to make to love others this way is really the motive is because you love God. Like if you look at your wife as the lens, or if that's the lens is to determining when she gets this kind of love, it's not going to happen
No.
because we fail each other. But if it's more so about being faithful to God, then it doesn't really matter what your wife is doing, because even though it's for her, it's because of him. I think it's important to remember that, because sometimes we inadvertently, we start measuring how much love someone deserves based on how they treat us.
Yeah.
Even though we know better, it's just like human nature, and it's important to keep the the reason or the motive of why we're loving, our spouse and just others in all relationships is because God's commanding us to, and we want to do it faithfully because we love him and we appreciate, all that he's done for us. And in that he gives us the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and God helps transform your heart through these things too, because some of the things that you kind of mad about, like, man, they didn't say this, and then you like after a certain while when you walking with God, it's like it doesn't even matter. Like my father my father wants me to do this, and my father and he's living in me, so I start to do these things more naturally, and it can hurt less now. Sometimes it has that real sting. It can still have that sting, but I think sometimes it's like okay, it's not the biggest issue making this breakfast now. Even if you don't apologize, I'm still smiling. It's a progress. It's progress to that point, but I think it's not always necessarily an angry thing. And I know we got a comment here.
Yeah, Jesus said, serving your loved one and serving your loved one even in anger softens both hearts and reminds both of us of the definition of God's love. It might start with a begrudging attitude, but the Spirit moves during that act of love to remove that attitude.